Baby.
I go hard in the paint. I go hard in the paint.
I'm ducked off where the loudest legal. Right next door to Cali where the work a lot cheaper. Take you back in the trap in the 86 Regal. With a pocket full of stones booming like it was legal.
Man, what's going on, brother?
What is up, Suave, man? What have you been up to, sir?
Man, you know me, killing a bunch of zombies, trying to save the world, bro.
One zombie at a time, man.
One zombie at a time.
I know you've done the million zombie march and killed them all almost, man.
Yeah, it's more to kill. It's still more to kill.
That's fantastic, man. Hey, thank all of you for tuning in and participating in this episode of The Man Cave. This is season 2, episode 22, baby. And today we're going to be discussing House of the Dragon. But I just have to give you the reminder that whatever you happen to see or hear here in The Man Cave,
but stay in the Man Cave.
That's right. It's going to stay right here in The Man Cave. Suave. So before we get started on this, man, what is your thoughts on Game of Thrones, man? It's been a long-running series on HBO, and now we're getting a second series, kind of a prequel. What's your thoughts, man?
Dude, one, I like the show. It's cool. It's a cool show, you know. I wouldn't want to be a human being back in those times, though, brother. Like it's too much going on, and honestly, man, I would not want to be the king because it's like you're the king, but you also have obligations that you can't turn away from, like marrying a young teenage girl, man, and that's just too much for me, brother.
Man, they tried to get him to marry a 10-year-old, but before we get
Yes.
I know, man, but before we get into that, so Game of Thrones was a sword and sandal type show. It went on for 6 seasons. I enjoyed almost every single season. The last season let me down just a little bit because of the storylines and where they ended up. But I had a lot of fun with Game of Thrones. But one of the things I would say was a little rough with Game of Thrones is that it was a little slow. There was a lot of story that played out real slow over a long period of time. There was twists and turns and intrigue, like house intrigue, house against house, and they all are trying to do one another in and all that. And I found all that super exciting. And no spoilers for season 1 of Game of Thrones, but a major character dies at the end of season 1. And it shocked me, and I was worried. I was like, what is this show gonna do? I mean, clearly they made this person a main character, and now he's gone. What are they gonna do? Anyway, the series ended up real well. But House of the Dragon is a prequel set around 1,000 years before Daenerys and her exploits and Jon Snow and all that. And we pick up with the Targaryen dynasty. Valeria has fallen, which is a major place that had a whole bunch of dragons and stuff. It's in the lore, but we pick up with the Targaryen family and lineage, and we hit the ground running. They do not waste time in this show. What do you think about that, Suave? Are they moving quick?
Man, they are getting right into the action. Like you already know. When you start any episode, it's going straight into it, man. Like, so I like that though. I love the fact that I don't like watching shows where it just gradually, slowly, and it's already like an hour and 20 minutes long, but you got about 20 or 30 minutes of it. You just creeping up and finding out, oh, okay, that's what's going on. Man, y'all could have shown that. Like, what is going on here? Why are y'all doing that? So this
David,
show, though,
David thinks you should watch Game of Thrones before this, or should I watch? I would say no. This is set before.
I would say no.
This is set before Game of Thrones, so you don't have to watch that. Matter of fact, you could watch this series first and then watch Game of Thrones, and it might make a little more sense, actually.
I would say that also. The concept of what's going on will help you understand what's going to happen later in Game of Thrones. That's what I think. because man, these guys here, they're like at first, at the beginning, a force to be working with. You
Yeah,
know
so
what I'm saying?
let's introduce the characters. So the king, we have King Viserys Targaryen. He is the king at the moment. His the right hand of the king is Sir Otto Hightower. His daughter is Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, who's an awesome actress. I don't know if you've seen her in anything else, but she does a fabulous job in this show. And then the king's brother, Prince Daemon Targaryen. Damon is a absolute beast.
Mm.
He is he's an awesome actor as well. He kills it in this role. There's also a few.
Hold on, let me say something
Go
about
ahead.
him real quick. I honestly don't like that actor, but in here, I like him. I like him.
Oh,
Like
so you've seen him in other stuff and didn't
yeah,
like
I've
him.
seen him
Then.
in other stuff, and did not like in Morbius. He was in Morbius, the movie Morbius. I think
Yeah, he was the guy
terrible.
who he
Yeah,
was
he
his
the best
the
friend.
villain.
Best
Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
I think that he was horrible and all the other stuff, but this right here, oh no, man, this guy is wonderful. Like big up.
He's
I think he was also on Doctor Who, if I'm not mistaken. I want to
yeah.
say
I
that.
mean, he's menacing.
Mhm.
He throws you off balance in a way that you don't know if he's there to like kill you, have a drink with you,
Exactly.
threaten you, and lead. Like you just have no clue. So Prince
Definitely
Daemon,
someone you should watch out for. I mean, if you're gonna request his presence in any kind of way, you might want to put him at a distance.
So basically, the show picks up with the death of a king. I forget the king's name actually. It's
But
his
he
father.
was the king of all kings. Like so, this tribe, I'm gonna call them a tribe. This community of people have conquered everything at this moment. No one can conquer them. They're like unstoppable. You know, so that king at the time that made all this happen is dying. He's old. You know, he needs to choose someone to take his place, and all the kings of this tribe come together where they call them lords. So if you're the king, and then anybody under the king are lords. So all the lords come together. I'm talking about thousands of people together, and they like, hey, let's vote it in. And you know how the old saying is, man. And back in those times, they didn't want a woman,
Right,
you
and
know,
it was between. So the king had a
Mhm.
brother and a sister, and he didn't have any children, any heirs. So
Mhm.
the whole kingdom, when the king died, so the kingdom didn't fall into chaos, and sides were drawn, and then there was a conflict. So that didn't happen. The whole nation or whatever, the whole continent got together and decided to vote on who they were going to have them represent them as king or queen. And anyway, as Suave alludes to, they couldn't have a woman, so they ended up giving it to King Viserys. And this is 3 minutes into the first episode. We're not giving anything away here. We're just giving you a little bit of backstory. So that's how.
Taste.
Just
a little taste.
And this is during the high time of dragons. So King Viserys has a dragon. All of them have dragons. Now I think King Viserys' dragon is dead. Actually, it died of old age. It was a Balon or something like that. There's a giant skull that he has under the keep, which is actually in Game of Thrones as well. They literally go down and look at the skull at one point. But anyway, I've super enjoyed the show. There's a whole bunch of twists and turns. We're not going to give everything away or anything, but I'm loving it, man. They're not wasting any time. I think the king's in some trouble. He's not looking too good. What are your thoughts on the series and where it may be heading, Suave? Where do you see this coalescing?
I think that so without spoiling anything, because I want y'all to go and see this, man.
It's
a
worth
really
it.
good show. It's a really good show. Seriously. I wouldn't waste your time on that. I will say some people like, some people don't, but I think most people like it. You know, it's action packed. I think that with all the twists and turns that's going on, it can go anywhere. the way the show is going, like it can go on anywhere, and you'll understand what I'm talking about when you watch it. You know, you're like, okay, it can go this way or it can go that way, but it's definitely a show where you're looking like, man, and this is not spoilers because you understand this because this is human nature. Human beings are greedy.
Oh yeah.
They are greedy. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like deeply greedy, but it's more like the people that have the power, the high lords, they're the ones that's like, well, I feel like I should be the best. I feel like I should be king. I feel like I should be king. And they doing all their tactics, you know, all the way down to the poorest person in the group. And he slid one in, boy. So
Yeah.
you'll know, you know what I'm saying? You'll know what I'm talking about. He definitely
So David
those
asks,
silent killers.
David asks if all the episodes are out now. No, they're not. We're actually all the way to episode 5. But here's the interesting thing. This is a risk for HBO, as a matter of fact. This portion of the show is going to be a risk for HBO. And what I mean, what I mean is this. So I love the show. I've enjoyed it and everything, but the two main characters we've grown to love are about to change into older actresses to show them later in life. So what I mean is between episode 5 and 6, there's a 10-year jump, a 10-year gap. So somebody that gets married might have children by the next episode. Like they are literally cruising. So, David, I would suggest just going to start watching, man. You can grind out the first 5 episodes in no time. And I think you'll dig it, man. A lot of intrigue, like I said, a lot of house stuff, a lot of trying to up your position and stuff. I'm super loving the show. There's a character called Sir Kristen Cole, and I don't think he's long for this world. What do you think, Suave? Do you know who Sir Kristen is? Who I'm talking about?
Which one? Help me. Which
the guard?
Help me, the guard. Man, I think that I think people should go see it, man.
Yeah. It's hard to say anything.
Because it's so much that's going on with House of Dragons, man. I really didn't expect me to just like it like that. You know what I'm saying? Game of Thrones, like I said, Game of Thrones is a great show. But I think that the way that it was directed, it just moved too slow.
It did. Well, they had to. Game of Thrones did all the world building. It did all the sweat, blood, and tears of the world to get you to feel like it was a real place and what it would be like if you visited it. They did all that hard work. And now with House of the Dragon, it's just cruising because it doesn't have to explain stuff. Hey, where did the dragons come from? Well, they kind of talked about that in Game of Thrones a whole bunch, you know, like they don't have to stop and explain everything that's actually on screen. And I really, really, really enjoy that.
I do want to say this though. I think that with this, the House of Dragons, the way they're moving and time and everything, I think we'll get maybe 2 seasons. I don't think any more than that. If there's gonna do another season, it'll be just 2 seasons only, because they're moving pretty fast.
They are. If they did, yeah. I mean, I really don't know that, and that's what I mean by it's kind of a risk. Like I got to like the Queen's character, and I really liked the Princess's character. And now I believe we're going to be heading into some major conflict or whatever tension between those two characters, and they're going to be new to us now because they're new actresses. I think that's just a little bit of a risk, but I think it'll pay off though. I mean, it looks like they've got fantastic actresses to take their place, and it just looks awesome. Who do you like better though, real quick? The new Hand of the King or the old Hand of the King? And I don't mean from Game of Thrones, I mean the replacement.
Right. You talking about? Well, I think the old hand, man. I think the old hand because man, it's so because I have some disagreements with that, man.
Yeah, it's hard because you have to elaborate, kind of, don't you?
Yeah. I'm gonna be on. I'll say this. There's gonna be, and if you know anything about medieval times and everything, it's kind of close to this, the way that things operate.
Mm-hmm.
They put too much power and responsibility in kids and children's hands.
Oh yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say. So when SPG is talking about the new hand and the old hand, like there's too much responsibility in kids. You know,
there is.
And
Well, all right,
kids,
Suave.
like,
I got the last thing. We'll end. We're already at 15 minutes. We could probably talk an hour on this. But what do you think about the status of kids and women in this world? I certainly would not want to be a princess in this world. I just wouldn't. Like, you are only as good as your womb. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
That
is your role, because there's a character that says it best, that if you think that, and this is back thousands of years later, if you think at that time that those men are gonna accept a woman coming in ruling them, they'll burn down the throne before they do that.
Matter of fact, 1,000 years later, they didn't want a woman then neither. So she's definitely got her work cut out for her. But just to be in that position to where, hey, I'm the queen, but you're only as good as your womb. Can you give me a boy? Can you give me heirs?
Right.
Like, that's your job. That's your political obligation. Like, remarkable, man. And you don't even get to pick your husband or wife. They just stick you with somebody.
They just stick you with someone, man. I'm talking about, we're going back old days in South Mississippi.
I mean, it's
Alabama.
not. Hey, we did that in America too, and we would like marry your daughter to the farm down the road, and you might split your cattle or something, and like build a bigger farm. But man, come on, man.
We talking about old Asian traditional Japanese ways.
That's crazy.
Going back then, man. You know, it's crazy that those things still kind of exist, but they kind of like, well, okay, we're gonna boost the age up. You know, you still gonna have to do this duty of being married into this family. You know, and a lot of coaches do that. That the arranged wedding. I'm gonna say arranged wedding, because some of them are not absolute, just arranged on the outside. They're like, hey, this family come from doctors. Our family's poor. You need to do something. You're gonna save us.
Here's my last prediction, man. I believe we're gonna see that Aegon Targaryen on the throne. I do.
You think so?
I don't know when. I don't know how long it's gonna be. I don't know what the dance is going to be to get him to be king, but I think he's going to end up on the throne.
You think so?
I do. I don't know for how long. And I know they named him after the Conqueror. I know they did that. But man, I don't know. Hey, one last thing, Suave. Would you sit on that throne?
Nah, bro, I'm good. I told you, man, like for one or two reasons. One main reason, without any spoilers, everyone's attacking the king at all times. Even when the king think he has someone loyal to him, everyone always attack. That seat right there, that king seat, is a dangerous thing, man. I wouldn't want. Look, if I was the prince, I'd be praying that my dad have another son, a baby boy.
Well, the messed up thing is that the knives do come out when it comes for the throne. That's why they call it the Game of Thrones, because whoever's sitting on that's got the power, and you don't get to keep it very long usually. It's but I don't know, man. I really
think. All right, so let me ask you this.
All right,
where do you think all those swords come from? You think those?
I know where they came from.
Conquered?
No, you're right. So Aegon the Conqueror, Aegon the Conqueror, Aegon, however you say his name, with the first dragon riders or whatever, he conquered all of the continent, and he put all of his enemies under his boot, and he took all of their weapons and made them into the throne that he sat on to show everybody, look what I'm sitting on. I got here under all this shit. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so you sit there like a conqueror.
Right now, man. If you look at the Game of Thrones throne, like the way it looks, it's nothing compared to
there's more dragons. Yeah, there's more pile of sword. There's more pile of swords all around that throne, and the throne is
Yeah.
more pointy.
That one right there looked like he conquered a whole country.
Yes, he did. He tamed the continent and then made everyone fall under his boot. And then that's what he did. He took all their weapons and he created that throne to show everyone, I'm here for a reason. I'm supposed to be here. Very, 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 very powerful. And you got a big damn dragon. You can just blow fire on everybody and melt them anyway. So,
hey,
man.
I'm gonna tell you this though. Now you guys are gonna see that this whole community, this tribe, they're weak, really. They're not the strongest fighters. They don't, you know what I'm saying? But
Damon is a beast, though.
Yeah.
Damon is a beast.
I will say that. But look,
watch episode 3 with bated breath. That is a badass episode. Go watch that, guys. It's awesome.
You could do a lot of talking back and forth, but when that dragon show up, you get quiet. Over. You get quiet if that dragon ain't on your side. You get quiet. You're gonna see that multiple times, guys. Like if you can talk noise to me all day long, as soon as I say, if that dragon show up,
so
you're gonna be quiet.
So my prediction is Aegon's gonna end up on Aegon II, or whatever you want to call him. He's gonna end up on the throne eventually. I want to see something. I want to see a dragon fight in the air and watch somebody fall off of their dragon.
Like they're doing the what is that when they do the spear with the horses? You want to do something like that?
Yeah, man, something like that. Twisted Barber's got a question here. He asks, why hasn't the king got a dragon? He does actually. Died. Yeah, he does actually have a dragon, but he's dead. Drogon or I said it earlier. I forget his name, but he was one of the biggest dragons.
Something like that.
And he was the oldest dragon, and he was the biggest. And King Viserys only got to ride him one time before the big bastard died of natural causes. He didn't die in battle, but they took his skull, and the skull is under the castle, and they visit it in House of the Dragon, and they also show the dragon skull in Game of Thrones. But very interesting, though, why he doesn't actually have a dragon to ride. But actually, one of the very interesting things, Targaryens, when they're in the not the womb, the cradle. They put dragon eggs next to them in the cradle. So like as the dragon is like developing in the egg, the kid is developing in the cradle, and they're developing together. So they kind of have a connection. And that's right, Dracarys, and it's all over. Oh, that's funny.
I look forward to
George is amazing, Wilson. Keep her.
I look forward to I want them to come out with a season 2. I look forward to that. But I mean, who knows? It may just stop at season 1, but I feel like it's catching on to a lot of people, and it'll be too impelling not to have a season 2.
I hope they have,
really like that.
I hope they have a very successful seasons 1 and possibly 2, and then I hope we get even more prequels. I would like to go back to see the fall of what is the V word? I forget what the hell it's called now. Damn it. Anyway, the place that had all the dragons originally. I
don't think I can handle.
In House of the Dragon, the king has a model of an old city that is no more, and that's the city I'm talking about. I'd like to go back and see that place fall and how they lost control of their dragons or whatever, because they did, and a big hall got burnt that you end up seeing in Game of Thrones. It's just so awesome.
I can't handle. So I'm okay with you doing a story and then going back and do another TV series based on the past. But you can't give me 3 times. 3 times, I'm good.
He said you can't go back in time 3 times. Yeah, come on.
You can't do it 3 times, man. 3 times is enough. Like, give me 2, and I'm okay.
Nice. That'd be nice. I think what they're doing is, I think if I'm not mistaken, by the end of season 3, if Twisted Barber's correct, and they're going to do 3 seasons, I think they're going to catch up to, or possibly try to catch up to, the maybe the beginning of the war of Game of Thrones, where the king becomes Baratheon, the Baratheon War. I forget what the hell that's called, but because they are cruising, they're jumping time quite a bit now. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up and where they end up taking it. But Suave, any last thoughts, man, on House of the Dragon? Besides, all you guys should go watch it.
Man, I think if you're into the whole medieval thing, it's definitely a good. You'll be able to relate more, into it. If you're into Game of Thrones, I think you'll like this. I know you'll like this because it's gonna fill in the blanks with so many things, so many questions that you was wondering about. It's a great show. I give it a Suave approval. That's my new thing. Suave approval.
The Suave approval. Well, man, I'm digging the hell out of the show. I think you guys will too, especially if you like Game of Thrones at all, because this is in the same universe. It is a prequel, but I'm super excited to see where it goes. The writing has been top notch. The directing and the visuals have been stellar. Super loving it, man. Super, super loving it. And hey, man, this has been SPG.
And I'm Suave, man. Hey, look out on the next episode on Thursday on the climax.
Absolutely. That'll be episode 23. Man, we're climbing, Suave.
Jordan, man.
All right, guys. We'll see you Thursday. Later, guys.
The app game, baby. The app game, baby.
I go hard in the paint. I go hard in the paint.
I'm ducked off where the loud is legal. Right next door to Cali where the work a lot cheaper. Take you back in the trap in the 86 Regal. With a pocket full of stones booming like